Hey guys, I hope you're well. My name's Blakemore. I teach, travel, and sometimes triumph. And this is going to be a teach video. I'm back in Dubai, which is always exciting because it means it's a new academic year. And a new academic year means new opportunities. So, can't wait for this year to begin. So, in this video, I wanted to carry on my NQT series. And in this video, I wanted to look at things that you might want to consider setting up in your first week. These things aren't specific activities, they're not things that you need to buy, it's more routines and things that you might want to establish in that first week. So let's get straight into it. The first thing that you want to consider within your first week is rewards. Creating a really positive environment is something that your children will absolutely thrive in. So having a range of different rewards available for your children when they've done well is a really good thing to have. Whether that's stickers, certificates, some sort of just formal verbal praise is always fantastic because the children will do exceptionally well in that given environment, as long as it is positive. That's the theme that I want to keep with this video, is keeping things as positive as possible. Number two, build relationships. It's really important for you as a teacher to build relationships with the children inside your class. Now, this will sound really obvious for pretty much all teachers out there because teachers have this almost superpower for building relationships with children, but having a key focus on relationships is fantastic. Start to think about how you're going to build trust, communicate with them, and just be honest. Contrary to popular belief, the whole keeping a frown until Christmas is absolute rubbish. A smile really goes a long way at helping children start to build that trust and that relationship with their teacher. Another thing that I like to do to build relationships is introduce the class to a classroom buddy or puppet. You'll have seen this in another video, however, building relationships with a puppet for some children is a little bit easier, and then that way once they've built the relationship with the puppet and they're able to communicate with that, then they might find it a little bit easier to communicate with you and then ultimately build that relationship. But having that key focus on relationships sounds obvious, but I know that in my NQT year I started to consider the academics instead of thinking about the relationships. I know that I've mentioned this in a previous video, so you can check that out up there. Number three, another thing that I like to do within the first week of teaching is discuss the children's goals for the upcoming year, breaking those down into what they're going to do for the term, but also discuss the children's dreams because it helps the children feel a little bit inspired. This doesn't have to take a long amount of time. However, as a teacher, I know that it helped me start to understand my students a little bit better. It also helps the students feel a little bit inspired about the upcoming year. In addition to this, I also think it's really nice at the end of the year to look back on the children's goals for the year, have they met them? But it's also nice to reflect on that and think about what they need to do for the next academic year. Now, I know the majority of you out there won't be thinking of the next academic year at all, but it's something to keep in mind. Number four, creating a safe zone. Now, this one comes from a little bit of a mistake I had during my NQT year. During my NQT year, I had a range of children who had sort of emotional behavioural difficulties, and I didn't have a safe zone set up. As a result, the children created their own safe zone that would often be out of my line of sight somewhere within the school. Having a safe zone allowed children essentially to go to that area when they were feeling, whether it was anxious, angry, and give them a chance to sort of settle down and then eventually communicate their feelings to me within that safe space that they had. Another thing that's really good to have inside the classroom is some sort of worry box. Something along the lines of an I wish my teacher knew box. That way, if children struggle to communicate verbally, they can write their feelings down, post it inside the box, and then that way you can pick out those feelings, read them to yourselves, and then choose a time that's suitable for you both to sort of have a discreet chat about those feelings. And it's just a really good way to help children feel more comfortable inside the classroom in that initial week or so and sort of ongoing from there. The next thing to set up during your first week is classroom routines. Don't anticipate that the children know any routines of yours, even if you've had the children before. There's a range of different classroom routines that you need to consider that the children will need to know. If I sat and spoke about all the different routines that the children need to start to understand, then this video would go on for a long time. So I'm going to provide a link down below to a website or document that will benefit you to make sure that you start to establish those routines. Things like when do they sharpen pencils, because you don't want children just stood by the bin sharpening pencils all day. Things like going to the toilet, what are the procedures for that. Things like what happens if the fire alarm goes off. All these different routines need to be thought out and explained to the children. They also might benefit from practicing these things with the children so that they know where they stand when it comes to being inside the classroom. Ultimately, it helps the children feel more comfortable inside the classroom, which is what we're looking for. The next thing to set up during your first week of teaching is classroom values. This is a harder one to discuss. It's things like, what does learning look like inside the classroom? How do we know we're learning? How do we know we're progressing? These are harder things to set up, but having that discussion with your children, you will know what learning looks like to you inside your classroom. So explaining that to the children is going to be really beneficial, because that way the children will feel more motivated. Try and keep things as positive as possible, because you don't want children to get bored of understanding those sorts of values. The last thing that I recommend setting up during the first week of teaching is a personal one. And it's a good collection of tea and coffee, because ultimately towards the end of that week, maybe even straight away, you're going to feel tired. Having those things as a comfort is really good for you for a teacher. Make sure that you take time for yourself during the first week as well, to help yourself feel comfortable, because ultimately the best resource to the children is yourself. So make sure you care for yourself and the children will flourish. Anyway guys, that brings me to the end of the video. If you've liked the video, make sure you hit the like button. That really supports the channel. If you've loved the video, you can hit the subscribe button down in the corner and join the best base. Ultimately, if you want to see more videos, you can click into my channel to see more teaching and traveling videos. I'll see you in the next one, guys, and I'm out.